Hi, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We are so excited to lead this training with you today. We wanted to create a training for you that shows intentional steps, things you can be doing daily within your business to help you run for executive. So we're going to kind of go back and forth and share some tools, resources, and ideas for you as you are going through the month. And feel free to write questions in the chat as we're talking, and Liz and I will take turns answering the questions as we go through our presentation. Thank you for being here. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Liz is going to go first, and we're going to show you. So after this training is done, we have the PDF she's going to show you here that we can send to each of you that you can use as a tracker as you are going for executive. So I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to let Liz explain this.
Yes, I can't see the chat, so Jenny can maybe keep an eye on the chat if you guys have any questions, but I'm super excited to start off and talk to you guys about this like rank map and rank planning because I love that. I'm like a big numbers person, and I would like draw little trees and downlines in my notes all day if I could. And this is a huge part of getting to executive. So this is kind of just a blank sheet of this. We have one next that will show you kind of filled out, but it just shows the basics. So to get to executive, you're obviously going to have the 100 PV because that is what makes you active doing the business. And then you're going to have your 2 personally enrolled ambassadors. Doesn't matter where they are. They can be at the top of your legs. They can be wherever, but it is just, you got to have those 2. So overall, you need 1,500 OV. So that's going to be your ambassadors, their customers, all of that volume. That's going to be your OV. And if you log into your back office, you'll, of course, I'm sure you guys have all been there, and you'll see it all broken down in the little pretty squares. So that's all of your OV. I like to think of it, and if you see people doing like the Post-it notes or crossing numbers off and stuff, I think of it as each like order is 100 PV, because that's basically what it usually is, you know, and if people are signing up to do the business, they're going to spend that 100 PV. So if you think of that, that's about 15 orders. So you'll see 15 little bubbles that you need to get to the overall executive volume. But breaking it down a little bit further than that is where you go to look at your legs. So the max volume you can take from a single leg to hit executive is 900. So that just basically means you can't take all 1,500 from one leg. You want to build your team, which is really smart and like a really awesome thing that this company does, because that's going to set you up to keep ranking up and keep growing so much quicker than if you have all of your volume just in one of your legs. So you'll see here, it doesn't matter which leg it comes from, just one of your legs can't be more than 900. It does not have to be the max OV. You don't have to have a leg at 900. That's just the most you can take. So, and most people going for executive usually do have the 2 legs. You can have the 3 legs. It kind of depends on what situation and how your team is growing and whatnot. But this kind of just, and like Jenny said, we're going to give you guys the PDF of this so you can, you know, print it out and have one on your own. I keep them on my wall. I have them all over the place to kind of figure out all the different ranks. So here we have it filled out. So say these are your people, Sally and Chris. You have one leg max at the 900 OV. So then that means you're going to have 600 from either your leg 2 or your leg 2 and 3 combined if you have 3 legs. And that's what's going to get you that 1,500 overall, which is really good to think of as the 100 PV like orders. Each 100 is an order. So basically you need 9 people in your one leg and 6 people in your second leg if you're going to max it out. So, but just think, you know, those aren't just all your people. You're not bringing in all 9 of those people. That could be your one person, Sally, and you're just really helping her, you know, find her 2 people, and then so on, and kind of organically growing that way. Did you have anything else you want to add on that, Jenny, on just the numbers and kind of
just really if you're running it for an executive level, that's the time when you really start to take ownership of your volume. So like your leaders are always looking at your volume and will be like, hey, you're so and so away from this next rank, things like that. But at the point of that you're ready to run for executive, you should be checking your numbers. You should be being very involved in your back office so that you are aware of how close you are to your next mark. It really will set you up for great intentions as you're running for elite, bronze, and so on, and getting these higher ranks, because you need to know what you're working with and where you're at. And we'll do another training in the future, because we're going to be cranking out some good trainings here soon, but where we'll share how we do like daily tracking, how we track our volume daily, things like that, that help us see where our business is moving and at a pace as opposed to the month prior, that type of thing. So yeah, really, it's just, this PDF is so great because you can just have that up on your fridge or wherever, your bathroom mirror, whatever you see a lot, and it'll just help keep that visual of what you need to do to hit that bonus for the month.
And if you want to, like Jenny said, we're kind of going to dive more into that in a different training. But if you want, you can look at, you need 1,500. So that's about 15 orders and divided by however many days you have in the month. And that kind of breaks down to about how many orders, you're looking at in, if it's 1 order a week or 3 orders a day or whatever, however much your time is. This is just a really great visual to keep. And, I know Jenny and I both are big fans of the Post-it notes, and putting like 15 Post-it notes up on your wall and taking one down each time, and I think the biggest thing that people get kind of confused on is the leg and the max and the minimum, but that's like a really easy way to break it down is on the sheet. I love them, how it makes it. It's super, super user friendly.
And we have one of these for Builder Pro, Executive, Elite, and Bronze right now. So if you want these for anybody on your team or things like that, these are all in the True North Facebook group is where we grab this. So we can help find them for you if you can't find them, but these trackers are on there. And in the executive chat, when we're done here, we will attach this PDF so that you guys have it. Okay, this is my bread and butter right here, you guys. I am a box checker. I am a list maker. That's just my nature. I wake up in the morning and I make a to-do list, and that's just how I function. So these are daily intentional activities that you can be doing to move your business forward. And this is just a good basis for you to, build off of, tweak that's going to work for your lifestyle, for your day. I'll tell you right now, I am, my whole family is home all day. My husband works remote. I have 3 kids. I have a farm and I'm a homeschool mom. So I have to work these in 15-minute chunks in between making meals and taking care of people and taking care of animals and things like that. So you can make this work for your lifestyle, wherever season of life that you are in. So I don't want you to fall into the habit of comparing like, oh, so-and-so hit executive in X amount of time. You don't know what she's doing in her 15-minute windows or his 15-minute windows. You don't know how they're making these these chunks of time to move their business forward. So I really encourage you to stay in your own lane, find use these tools that we're giving you and shape it to work that's going to work for the pace that you want to run at, and go from there. And feel free to ask questions like in the chat or, after this recording. But here are some intentional daily activities that I do every single day to move my business forward. First thing in the morning, you probably see I post the schedule in the team chat every morning of what's going on that day, whether it be a training, an op call. If you go to the True North Facebook page, it's pinned to the top. Every week, they've got the full schedule for the week of the trainings that go on the True North page. So really treat this as if this is a business, if this is your business that you're wanting to build up on, you need to treat it like a business. Make appointments, schedule those op calls. At the beginning of every week, I get on my phone and I will, in my Google Calendar, put every op call, every training, everything I want to attend that week. And then I set myself a 10-minute alert prior to when that's going to happen, because that's my intentional business time. And I'm treating it as a business, and it shifts your mindset instead of this like thing in the back of your mind of knowing, oh, the op call's there every night. if I'm committing to being on that off call, even to just listen if I don't have a guest, that's my business meeting. That's my business moving forward. So first thing in the day, look at the schedule, see what's going on, be aware of what's the beat of the team, what's going on, whether it be trainings, off calls. Number two, check in with your team. Those team chats are there for a reason, whether it be the finding two, running for executive, we have a running for elite chat, we have our team chat. There are a lot of chats, but the whole point is there is a space for you in whatever season of this business you are in. You can talk to fellow, teammates that are in the same, space as you, and you can encourage each other and build off of each other. Those group chats are there to welcome new people, congratulate people as they're bringing people in, and just being there, having fun, like making silly jokes, like we throw our gifts and stuff in there every once in a while. Like it's a team space to be a part, like to have the community, to have the fellowship. Number three, I personally think if you are running for executive right now, you're trying to hit executive by the end of the month, you should be sending 5 to 10 invites out a day. That's just my opinion, because you're going to get more no's than yeses. And so it's better to get as many invites out as possible so that you can hopefully funnel gap a little bit. And so, and also I get delays. I'll have an invite I'd send out 3 weeks prior, 3 weeks later, oh, I just got your message. Yeah, I'd love to pop on. So instead of waiting for that person 3 weeks ago before I sent out my next invite, I've already been sending 5 to 10 out a day. So you're continuing that pace. So like I said, this is my personal, I'm sending 5 to 10 a day. I think at this point of the month, if you are going for executive still, that is the mark. I would say somewhere between 5 to 10 a day. If you need help practicing your voice messages, we are here. There are so many of us that would love to practice voice messages with you, go back and forth with you on those things. But that would be my recommendation for invites. Number 4, Power 30, Power 15. This is a great space to do your follow-ups. I keep a running list in my planner of all my current invites to the month. So I have, like, the way my planner is set up is it has note pages behind each month. And so I keep a ongoing list of every single person I've reached out to and the date that I've reached out to them. And so then when it's time for me to sit down for a Power 30 or a Power 15, I say, oh, cool, I reached out to this person 3 days ago. I'm going to follow up. And so it gives me a quick, easy, the more organized you are in that sense, these 30 and 15-minute power hours, you're going to get way more done. Instead of scrambling and scrolling through your messages and trying to figure out who you reached out to on one day, I pull up my list, I see who I invited, I see how long ago it was that I reached out to them and I haven't heard back, and I do those full follow-ups, and I can crank them out like that, and I can get way more done in a shorter window. And then we have those Power 15, Power 30, and we have a Power Hour graphic. So if you don't have those saved yet, I can also post those in our executive chat after that, so you can kind of see like what we do as like a Power 15 type thing. And then number 5 is attend an op call. I know it's not ideal for everybody to get on an op call daily. Try to get on at least 2 to 3 a week. If you get on, and even if you're just listening while you're doing the dishes, while you're cooking dinner, any of those types of things, it's number 1, you're being a part of the team. Number 2, it's going to keep you inspired and excited about what you're doing. And then number 3, it's going to teach you things. I still learn things on the op calls, and I've been here 4 months. So there's always something that you can be learning on these op calls, whether it be hearing somebody's testimony or a new tidbit that a leader is saying. So getting on those op calls are really important. And if you have a guest getting on the op call, I definitely recommend you are there on the op call with them. If there's some weird reason you can't be, reach out to somebody on your team and be like, hey, can you look for this person? And then text me when it's over. And as soon as you get that text, you're checking in with them. You're asking what they thought. You want to be following up with people pretty much immediately after the call, because you want it while it's fresh in their mind, while they're excited, while it's still all right there in front of them, instead of them getting distracted by, everything everybody gets distracted with in the summer months. So those are intentional daily tasks. And we're going to get into this here as we go further. But while you're doing this, teach your team to do this too. So this is something that not only while you are doing these daily things, be like, hey, do these things with me. Let's keep each other accountable. And not only are you going to be growing leaders that you've brought on, they're going to be raised up as leaders. They're going to teach their people, and so on and so on. And it's replication, and it's really cool to see happen. Okay, I'm done with my spiel on that one, Liz.
Yeah, you did awesome. I was going to add another thing that I've been doing, and I've done it for about a year now. And it's kind of been a game changer with me because, like Jenny said, I'm the kind of person I'd wake up and make a list of a million things I need to do that day. And then I'd always go to bed thinking like I didn't do anything. And I started doing my little like list of threes. And every morning I just write 3 things I need to do for like my family, personal life, that stuff, and 3 things that I'm going to do for my business. These are like non-negotiable things that I do. And right now I send 10 invites out a day. And those are, when I can cross off those 3, then at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, I got a lot done. Like I did the things that I needed to do without feeling like I have this giant list and I hardly got to any. And it has been very, very helpful in me feeling like I'm getting something done that I really needed to do without, having the entire day to do it, because it is summer and, life and our schedules are crazy right now. So that was just a little helpful thing that I started doing that was really a big game changer.
I love that. And something I've been doing at night is when I'm laying in bed and I'm just like unwinding for the day is I actually go on Instagram and I find the 10 people I'm going to invite that next day, and I screenshot them in my phone. And then the next morning I have my screenshots, and as I've sent out the invites, I delete the screenshot off my phone. And then I write that I've reached out to that person. That's something I've been doing because I don't usually have my pen and paper when I'm in bed. But yeah, I've been doing things like that too. I love that.
Yes, and even if you guys have to, I usually just put the op call on in my kitchen when I'm making dinner and getting ready. Like I am not very like present in the chat, don't have my video on. It's just listening. And like Jenny said, I get really hyped up after every single op call still. I've heard them all and I still get very hyped up. So it is always a good thing for if you need that. Okay, it's all you.
Oh yeah, this is me, isn't it? Okay, so are you actively recruiting? It's a fine balance. As your team is growing, you're going to be going in these waves between building up your leaders, building up your people, and also recruiting. Because Jenna Tomer, she says, to keep your business moving forward on top of what your team is doing, you should be trying to bring on 2 to 3 people a month. That's a good number like to aim for if you are trying to move faster. Like if you want to go slower, totally fine. But if you want to move faster, you want to try to bring in 2 to 3 people a month. So with actively recruiting, there are several reasons why it's important as a leader. And once you're hitting executive, you're a leader. You're a leader in your team. You are, you have a good sized team under you at that point. And so these are things that, are so important why you should be actively recruiting. You're leading by example. It's one of those things like we tell people, go invite, get your 2, send your invites. But are we doing the same? Are we actively sending out those invites? Are we putting ourselves out there? Because they'll see that. They'll see if you're sending out invites. They'll see if you're being consistent on social media and, being in the team chats, welcoming new people. Like it all ties together of like, you want to do whatever it is you want your people to do, because they're going to see you and they're going to replicate what you're doing. So leading by example is a big part of why you should be actively recruiting. Bringing on new runners, look for 2 to 3 new people to mentor every month. And whether you hit that mark or not is okay. Like that's okay. It's not going to happen every month. But if you are making that effort, your people are going to see you doing that, and share with them when you're being like, who sent out invites today in your text? Make sure you're sharing how many invites you've sent, how many follow-ups you've done if you got a power 15 in. And you're not only, is it good that you're bringing on people to mentor, but you're helping your team with volume. You're able to bless your people that you've brought on with volume, and then you're also helping yourself with volume as well. And then also it's just keeping yourself engaged in the business. It's just kind of one of those things like, you're training, you're working out 5 days a week, and then it becomes 4, and then it becomes 2, and then you haven't been to the gym in a month. So it's like one of those things where if you are continuously working that business muscle, it's going to stay a big part. It's going to be something that you are putting effort in, putting attention to. But if you kind of let it go to the wayside, it's a lot easier to just neglect it. And then it's end of month and you're like, shoot, I'm like 6 orders from hitting my normal rank. So recruiting is important for all of these reasons. It's a big part of what we want to do as leaders, because we want to show the people that we've brought on, number one, that we want to help them by putting volume under them, by supporting them, but number two, that we are in the trenches with them. Do you want to add anything, Liz?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I shared this with Jenny earlier, but I was listening to a podcast and she said that the best like network marketing advice she ever got was from a lady who was super high up in a company. And she said, your strongest runner, like biggest leader, will do half of what you do. And that just kind of blew my mind, because it's like, we want to lead by example, especially if you're running for executive. We've all seen the people who go MIA all month, and then the last week of the month, they're like, hey, what have you guys been doing? Like, let's run. Like, sorry, I've been gone all month, or, a couple months. Like, we've all seen that. And that's not going to help the hype and momentum in your team or anything. And you just really, you want to lead by example. And if you just think that that's what always pushes me, because I'm like, okay, they're going to be doing half of what I'm doing. So I better, get my butt in gear and go.
Yep. I love that. I agree. Yeah. It's good. Okay. This is Liz's jam right here. So I'm going to mute myself because she's a pro at edifying.
I love this. I talk about our team like I talk about my kids, you guys. I love our team culture and our kind of team dynamic. Jenny and I are in a lot of other chats with people cross-line on different parts of Jenna's team. And I can tell you, so many other teams don't have like the connection and the vibe that we have here. A lot of them don't even really have team chats or anything going. They're kind of like on their own and just thrown out to the wolves. And I love what we have here. I talk about it all the time on my social media, because I just think, people are looking for that. People are looking for community and, that sense of being in a group and all of that. And it's like, it's awesome to share about that. These are some little things. They boost the morale, sharing with others, leading by example. They show you care, engaging with your team. All of that is just huge. And it speaks volumes just about us and our team and how we're growing. Just showing, sharing when people rank up and when they get there too. Even if you're just hopping in the chat to share something amazing someone on your team is doing, or, someone's like working super hard and killing it and getting people to op calls left and right, or sending a great voice message, or hopping in and helping someone else, that is just going to pump other people up and really, pump your team up and show that you see them and, you recognize how hard everyone is working, and just even just running for executive or being here and being on the training, like that's huge. And that speaks volumes. So yeah, talking about it on social media, talking to people that, you're kind of talking back and forth with about the business. I always bring that up. It really is, Jenna talks a lot about edifying a leader when, you're sharing the business opportunity and whatnot, but edifying our team and our team culture is just as huge for me. I love talking about it and sharing about it on the op calls, because it really is something that we're trying to do a lot different here that I feel like a lot of teams, don't have. And we want to really feel like people have the resources and, that they can come here and be really like acknowledged and celebrated. And, we don't ever want someone to sign up and get someone and then not be like totally just shouted out and loved on in the chat. So I think that's huge. It really is a big thing. And you'll see, if you're really hyping your team up and you're talking to them and, you're getting them excited, you're going to see a big shift in, things that are happening and the movement and momentum. And they always say, you create your momentum. This is a huge way to do it, even if it's just little things like telling someone how much you appreciate what they're doing or anything. It's just huge. And I love it. And I really do. I like talk about our team like beaming with light, like it's one of my kids, because I'm so proud of all of us here and what we're doing. And even though we're just such a baby team who just started in March, like we're killing it and we're doing big things and making big moves. So just there's so many different ways to do it, but I just love that part.
I do too. It's honestly, and you can do it in so many ways. You can do it on social media, whether it be on your stories, you can do it in our team chats, or just send them a private text, be like, hey, good job. You did a great job there. That was a great story you posted. That was a great peak post you made. Hey, I see that you're really trying with your invites this week. Just taking the time to reach out to somebody and just letting them know, hey, I see you and you're doing a great job. That is so powerful, more powerful than I think a lot of us realize, because it's easy to feel like nobody sees me or everybody's ranking up around me or I'm not moving my business forward. But just being seen and heard and recognized, it goes a long way. So edifying is huge. And I just wanted to add on to that before we move on to the next thing is also edify other people's people. You know what I mean? So when we have somebody that's welcoming somebody new to the team chat, when we have somebody that got a new order, let the more people that like you want everyone to have that big welcome, right? So like when you're bringing somebody on, you want them to have flooded with all these people on our team saying, welcome, we're so happy you're here, right? So you got to do the same for other people's people that they bring on. It's a team that we want everyone to feel love here. Like as sappy and silly as that sounds, we want them to be like, whoa, yeah, this is a cool place. They weren't kidding. Because it is. And so this, culture that we've created is so special and we want people to feel that right away. So I really encourage you guys to make sure you're engaging and welcoming and celebrating everyone the way that you would want to be welcomed and you would want to be celebrated. That's all I got to say.
And I also love how, and I want you guys to make sure to like share your posts if you're sharing on social media and stuff, because I love when I go to someone's post and I just see like it flooded with comments from our team. I think that is so cool. It's always going to help like our algorithm and all of that, but it really does show, the support and encouragement we have here, even from people who aren't, directly on your team or at the same spot as you. It's just really pumping everyone up.
I think we're good on that one. Whenever I think it's funny, Clary walked or just came in and it's her picture on the thing I used.
I know, it's perfect
there you
timing.
are, Clary. Okay. All right. Was this me? Yeah, this was me, right? Okay. Onboarding your new ambassadors. You guys, this is so important. And this is the last big chunk we are going to be teaching tonight. And we're going to go into a little bit more here in a minute. But what you do with your ambassadors, as you bring them on, that is how they're going to bring on their ambassadors. And so we really want to make sure that we are bringing people on as efficiently as possible, giving them the tools, the resources that they need right out of the gate so that they are set up for success and they will be able to teach their people to be set up for success. So the first thing, welcome text. If you don't have a copy of our welcome text, let us know in the executive chat after this. We will get it for you, but it's a little short blurb and it has a Google link, a Google Drive link. That Google Drive link is a wealth of information, you guys. It has everything written down to the like the app and making sure your hyper wallet is set up. It's got a recorded launch call. There's all these things in this doc that are so vital and will really help direct them to get them started and set up for success. So that welcome text, boom, they sign up, you make sure they get that welcome text. Plugging them into our group chat. The two most important chats would be the Rise team chat and the Finding Your Two chat. Those are the two that you want to get them plugged into right away. There might be other chats that you get plugged into as well, but those are like our training chats where we're going to make sure we're fitting you guys to schedule, helping you guys. Finding Your Two chat is super special because people get to graduate out of that. As they found their two people, they get to graduate out. Some stay behind because they want to be there for their people they're bringing on and help be leaders in that chat. And we're all for more leaders in that chat. So if you think of it like you guys are leaders, if you're running for executive, you are in a leadership position. And so I encourage you to go into that Finding Your Two chat, put in a beautiful nugget of information, a boost of encouragement. Don't just, you don't have to leave it to just us pouring into there. You guys can pour into there too. If you see a training that you want to bless somebody with, and be like, hey, this is like a great inspiration, check this out. Like, you guys are leaders, and we would love to see you guys get involved in that Finding Your Two chat. Next things you want them to do, have them start making their list of people. Voice message training, you guys, this is non-negotiable. If they tell you, I got it, I don't need practice, you need to practice with them anyways. Okay. It is so important to do voice message practicing, making sure they're confident, they're saying the right, they're saying the right things, they're not over speaking, because that's what I find the most is people over speak on voice messages. So we want to help them have short, condensed, excited voice messages, getting them onto a live launch training or watching a recorded one within 48 hours, guys. You don't want to put it off for a week or another week after that. Like, as soon as they get in, you want to ride that wave of excitement. You want to get them onboarded. You want to make sure that they're getting connected to the information. Liz, Ali, and I will be doing weekly launch calls now on top of the ones that True North provides. We will be doing launch calls. So we'll post it in the chat, in the executive chat after this, when the one is happening this coming week, but we will have weekly launch calls that you can get these guys plugged into. And if it's past that 48-hour window, send them a recorded one. And if you don't have access to one, you don't know of one, let us know and we'll send it to you. But there is one in that welcome text Google Drive. So there is a recorded call for them to watch. And then another great thing to do is, as you've done voice message practicing with them, they have their list, they're ready to start inviting to Zoom calls. Make sure they're screenshotting their responses and sending them to you. And do that until they've at least gotten 2 ambassadors. And it's not because you don't trust them or you don't think they're not capable, but it will help teach them responses. Like, it's a learning thing. It's a learning exercise. With, as you guys are communicating, you're sharing ideas of how they can be responding back to those people. It's teaching them how to help their people as they bring their people on. It's a ripple effect. And so don't feel like you're being bossy. This is all part of making sure that we are being involved, helping, shaping leaders, because you're just going to be shaping the next wave of leaders that are coming onto this team. And then have them make a peak post. Honestly, it's important to do 1 peak post a week. And it can just be the most, it does not have to be this Russian novel. It doesn't have to be over the top. It could just be something along the lines of, you were at the beach with your family and you say, I am so thankful that I have the freedom to go to the beach with my family on the weekday and still have my business on the go where I can check in if I need to, but also know that I can unplug and be with my family. That's a peak post. It doesn't have to be this beautifully written thing. It could just be these little nuggets here and there, and they will stick with people. There's a good rule of thumb, if you haven't heard this already, it takes 7 to 10 exposures to something before it will truly stick with someone. And so whether it be after you've sent out that invite and maybe they said, I'll think about it, or kind of things like that, you post, like, posted a trapper keeper on my social media today. I got a trapper keeper. Hey, I'm from the 80s. And that I didn't even bring up the business, but then they're like, oh yeah, Jenny sent me that voice message. That's an exposure. Like, it doesn't have to just be a business exposure. 7 to 10 exposures to you is going to help stick with what you're sharing. So putting yourself out there, sharing little bits and pieces of your life, those are all going to bring on people. People are watching. So those peak posts are so important because it's going to help people hear your heart, and they're going to get those little nuggets here and there throughout the rest of your feed. Next thing is checking in daily with your people. You guys, it's a really good rule of thumb. Until somebody has hit executive, you really want to be right there. I mean, we're all about linking arms always, but until they've hit executive, you are really helping. You're really involved, checking in. And you don't have to be like, every morning, how many invites are you sending today? Hey, how are you doing? How's it going? Is there anything that you're feeling like maybe you need some extra love on, or some questions you might have, or, how was the beach? It doesn't have to always be business, but if it's present, it's a friendship too. It's also just being that person in their life and being there for them. So checking in daily with your people, and then being available to help them. I can't see. What did I write? I mean, the one that wrote this. Being available to, what does it say, Liz? To help them find their questions. I think that's what it says.
Be available to help them find the answers to their questions.
There you go. Yeah, and it's not about answering all the questions for them, because we're going to learn as we find answers for ourselves. But being available to walk through it with them, and them being like, hey, I have a question about a product, a sourcing, I can't find it anywhere. Being like, okay, cool. If you go to the True North page and you type Team Blue on the search bar, it will give you the contact information to where you can call, and they'll answer you directly right away, or email them your question and you can get an answer. Let me know what they'd say. I'd love to learn from that too. So you don't have to find the answers always for them, but just being there as a person walking them through finding the answers is really powerful, because it shows that you're here with them. You're in the trenches with them. Okay,
That's another great thing about our chats too, because 9 times out of 10, someone has that same question or they ask that question. And, you know, a lot of times, like, people on our team will have an answer for you really quick. And that's another amazing thing about being active in the chats, is you can get a lot of ideas and resources and support there. I think that's
okay. So this is it, you guys. So what we've set here, it isn't super complicated. It isn't over the top. Hold on a second. I'm going to mute myself for a second. Liz, if you want to build off that.
Yeah, it's really, and you know, executive, to me, it's a lot more than just, I mean, of course, it's like a rank advancement, you get a higher check, all of that. It really is a leadership rank, you know, at executive. I mean, you saw the little trees in the beginning. Your team is growing. Your team is really, you know, starting to grow. And that's when you really do, you want to start implementing these things, so you're not going back. You know, Jenny and Allie and I kind of, when we started, True North didn't have a great onboarding, like getting started system. So we kind of had to backtrack, because we realized, you know, this wasn't something that we were going to be able to do super long term, doing it how they kind of had set up. So we created that welcome text and, you know, started doing our own launch calls and things like that. These are things that you kind of want to put in place, because if you're setting your people up for success and really showing them how to do it, they're going to go duplicate that with their people and so on and so forth. So, you know, you're not having to still do all these same steps when you're dealing with, you know, people level 20 and 30 from you. It's just really awesome to get kind of that duplication going. And that's how too your team's gonna like explode and grow organically.
Yes, I love all of that. I was just nodding my head. I'm like, yes, I agree. And it's taking the initiative. If you are running for executive, that means you are running for a leadership role. So taking that initiative, leading by example, finding resources, listening to personal development, putting yourself out there, sharing on social media, all these things that we talked about, these are not only going to help your people see, you know, replication, what you're supposed to be doing, but it's just keeping you with your eye on the prize, right? Really hone in. If you're running for executive right now, I really want you to go back to your why. When you were on that first Zoom call and you were looking at this business opportunity and you were trying to decide if this was the right fit for you, why did you choose this? Why did you choose Cube Sciences? And I really want you to hone in on that and think about it and share it with somebody. It's really important to share your why with somebody, because I'll tell you, I have bad days. I have days that are rough, and I'll go to Liz and I go to Allie or I go to other girls on our team, and they remind me of my why. They remind me why I'm doing this, and that's powerful. And so it's really important to share with somebody that you are doing this with why you're doing this. Even your spouse. I've had days where I'm like, I'm fried, and my husband looks at me and he's like, remember why we're doing this? And it's like, yes, okay, okay, thank you. I needed that. So it's so important to just really hone in on that why, even on the bad days, because it's gonna keep you in the mix. It's going to keep you in the trenches and moving forward. We're just so excited to see all these leaders that are popping up on the team. Like, and we want more of you to be involved in trainings like this and doing things like this as you guys, you know, continue to grow in your business. So we are here for you. We want to keep putting out content like this and to help you guys and help shape you into the leaders that you guys want to be. And so if you have certain goals in mind and you're like, I kind of want to run for elite, is this crazy? Come to us, talk to us, let us go over your numbers with you and be like, okay, like Liz was saying, how you do the math, figure out how many orders a day you would need to hit that rank this month. Like this is a team effort through and through. Like I feel like that is our most constant thing that we say, that this is a team effort, but it really truly is. And that was what honestly attracted me to this compensation plan, is its total volume. And that's a theme with our business. We're all in this together. We are all helping each other. And so the more that we are active in each other's in the team chats, welcoming new members, congratulating people for new preferred customers or new ambassadors, you know, sharing our peak post, just saying hi and being part of the team, that is just going to make this even more amazing than it already is. So that would be my final note for this training, is to really assess why you are doing this. What do you want to get out of this month? What do you want to get out of next month moving forward? What are your goals? Like, what are your 6-month goals from here? What are your year goals from here? And if you want to talk those out with a leader, I know we would all love, like, we would love to talk to you. We would love to help you set some attainable goals. But yeah, that's my final thought. What about you, Liz?
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, you guys if you're running for something, it doesn't mean you have to hit it, you know, that month. I like to think of every month as I'm running for something. And, you know, even if you're just running and getting a little bit closer than last month, that's still a huge win. That's amazing. You know, don't think of it as you have to be running and like, you have to do it this month. Like, no, you can be like, okay, I want to hit it here. I'm going to keep running and getting closer and closer and closer. Like, there's so many different ways to go about it, especially now with summer. We all know, like, time and everything is kind of crazy, and that's, you know, that's okay. And that's the beauty of this business, is really making it work for you and your family. So however that looks for you, like Jenny said, we would love to like sit down and kind of map it out with you and see, you know, how your team's looking, like what it could look like in the next couple months. And I just think that is so fun, and I'm like a dream big person on that. So
Yeah, I love that. Does anybody have any questions before we wrap up? It is the best team ever, Kylie. I agree, Tammy. Me too. And Clary, that's okay. That's why we do this. It's mom life. There's a lot of us where it's like, well, I'm gonna make it work.
I know, I was telling Jenny, anyone on my team who's like waiting for responses from me knows that they usually get them at midnight during the summer, because that's when my family's asleep and I finally get time without kids yelling and screaming around me. And, you know, that's when I have to respond to people. So we're just making it work however we can.
Yep, exactly. And I love what Trina just said. And yeah, it takes it's daily consistency. It's like that, you know, the example I was saying, it's like your business is like a muscle. You're not going to get ripped after you decide you're going to lift weights for one day, right? It takes consistent daily showing up. Trina loves to run, right? Trina, I could use a marathon metaphor, Trina. It takes that daily showing up, that consistent effort, and there are going to be good days, there's going to be hard days. That's why that why is so important at every level of this business, because even people that are rubies and diamonds, they have bad days too, they have hard days too, and they have to hone in on those whys also. So I'm going to wrap up the recording and then we'll leave it open for Q&A for just another minute. But if you are watching this recording and you have a question, if you don't have access to the PDF, you can't find it, please reach out to one of the leaders of the team and we will get the PDF for you. How do I stop the recording?